Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. And this narcissism video is sponsored by contribution from Julia. And here's her story. Hi, Ollie. I'm so glad you're back and making videos again. I left a donation with PayPal. I wanted to give you an update now for a couple months. Your videos and the situation with my family inspired me to put my personal channel back up on YouTube. I had a channel when I was first going through narcissistic abuse by my ex-husband, but I took it down for many reasons. I put it back up now because I know it's important for these people to be exposed if the victims are to have any chance to heal. Your channel has a much wider audience than mine, and I feel like putting my story up will encourage others and give others hope, and it will reach more people on your channel. You made a series of videos for me about my narcissistic family and toxic borderline sister-in-law. For the past almost eight, almost 9 years after my divorce, I had been living in my grandmother's farmhouse next to my parents. My narcissistic, immature brother lived upstairs with my parents and never left home. A couple years ago, after never dating his entire life, he met a borderline online, married her, then moved her into my parents' home and his childhood bedroom because they could not afford to move out. I put that in quotation marks because I know they have the money to spend on expensive trips and clothes and other things. Over a year ago and this past year, my sister-in-law started drama, trying to make me into the family scapegoat. The joke was on her because I have always been the family scapegoat. She didn't need to make an extra effort to convince them I'm the problem with everything in the family. I wish this was recorded so you can hear the sarcasm in my voice. This toxic person kept the drama going with nasty text messages over 2,000 words in length and even challenging me to a physical fight. My mother took her side and my brother's side even after she read the text message because she was worried that if she said anything to my brother that this woman would take her son husband away and she would never see them again. She chose her toxic daughter-in-law and narcissistic son husband over her daughter and her grandchildren. Right, because that's what benefits her, not you, the son husband. And the borderline wife who goes ahead and makes everything about her. I made the decision to move and go no contact. I called a realtor and started the process of looking for a house. Of course, my mother became suspicious that I was house hunting when she saw me leave home on my days off and be gone for hours and hours instead of sleeping. I worked the night shift in a very busy ER as the charge and triage nurse, so on my days off, I sleep a lot to recover. This is when the drama started with my mother. She came out of the house first thing in the morning under the guise that she wanted to make sure the children were up and ready for the bus. Right, and how often does she ever do that? It's always under the guise of something else, and it's usually something they don't typically do. This is when they're trolling for a fight. My kids are 15 and 18 years old. They're capable of getting up and getting ready for school without me, and certainly without my mother. My mother would let herself into the house without knocking or ringing the doorbell because she had a key. She owns the house. She started gaslighting me and trying to guilt trip me into staying by saying, "You don't have to move. You can live in this house as long as you want." I would tell her that woman is dangerous. I don't want me or the kids living anywhere near her, meaning the sister-in-law. She would then reply, "Well, you can't control who your neighbors will be. What if you don't like your new neighbors?" Well, I can control who these neighbors are, and I don't like these neighbors, i.e. my sister-in-law, who I've done a lot for and got her a job and she couldn't handle it, if you remember Julia's past stories. What do? Then I move again. If I can move once, I can move twice. Can't I? It'll be easier to move the second time because you've already done it once. She would even tell my son, when you her. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. She would even tell my son, when you and your mommy move to town, grandma won't be there anymore to take you places. She even said to me when the gaslighting wasn't working that you can't make it on your own with these kids. Who's going to help you? I'm not driving all the way to town to pick these kids up, I told. Well, one's an adult already. The other one's 15. They're pretty self-sufficient. They're pretty self-sufficient at that age. I told her, no one's asking you to do anything. Now that my daughter just turned 18, we have an appointment at the DMV to get her license next month. Because of the pandemic, driver's ed was shut down in the rural high school she attends, and there was a waiting list for all the driving schools around, so I couldn't get her learner's permit, and the DMV said just to wait until she turned 18. Man, they just screwed these kids over, man. These kids got screwed the fuck over. Erin included. She lost her junior year, she lost her senior year, she lost everything. She junior prom, senior prom, all that. Freaking destroyed. Graduation, all that, destroyed. My mother would occasionally take the kids to karate practice or the orthodontist appointments. And therein lies the problem, because in her mind, if she has to do anything, they're never going to let you forget it. So in her mind, she thinks she's just, just doing everything. And when the reality is she's helped out a few times. But because the narcissist holds on to things to put in their tool bag to throw in your face later, okay, they make it seem, they make themselves believe they're doing things they didn't do. Because doing anything for you is such an imposition for them, okay? Just those few times should be enough. Should be enough for you to put up whatever bullshit she wants to throw at you. My mother accused me of being bitter. That's projection. She said, are you going to take this bitterness you have towards your sister-in-law to your grave? Yeah. Yeah, she's awful. She's a borderline. She ruins holidays. She ruins birthdays. She storms upstairs, slamming doors, screaming and crying, and couldn't hold a job. Yeah. I'll take it wherever I want to take it. I'll take it where I want to take it. Because that's a goddamn demon you got living in that house next to you. It's a demon. A demon you don't want to confront. A demon you'll put up with so you can keep your baby boy son husband living in the same room he's been living in since childhood. I reminded my mother of the 2,000-word text message and how nasty she and my brother have been towards me, especially towards my parenting skills, and accusing me of turning my daughter gay. My mother said that my sister-in-law is not dangerous and that I'm just blowing everything out of proportion. My mother and I got into a screaming match at that point, and I told her, I'm tired of being the one in this family that always has to suck it up and take it. And that's the job of the blood. You just gotta take it. No, you don't. No, you don't. My brother gets everything he asks for, and I get treated like the black sheep. My mother said, you should just be grateful you had a roof to live under for 8 years rent-free. And there it comes, throwing more shit up in your face. Really? Well, what's Fucko and his wife been paying in rent since he's been living there his entire life? We're talking about 8 years. I went through a divorce. Okay, you got an empty farmhouse, whatever. It's your house. You can do whatever you want. Thank you for letting me stay here. Okay, but you're going to throw up 8 years when I have 2 children, when lazy fuckboy in there, up until a couple years ago, never even had a date? His entire life. The nerve. I reminded her that it was not rent-free, that I replaced the roof, which cost thousands of dollars, replaced the water heater, the dishwasher because it was leaking and ruining the kitchen floor, repainted, landscape, paid the taxes on the house and the 20 acres of farmland, and put in a gravel driveway, which also cost me thousands of dollars. Had I known I wasn't going to inherit the house, I never would have put anything into it. I would have just paid rent. To that comment, she didn't correct me and say I was in the will. I knew that my narcissistic brother and horrible wife and foster child were probably in the will and not me. I continued the house search over the next couple months, which gave my mother plenty of time to keep guilt tripping me. She even said, "I don't know what we're going to do with this house once you move." Well, why doesn't the fucking baby boy and his wife and foster kid move in there? Why is he living? He wants to live in his childhood fucking bedroom? Jesus Christ. I guess we'll just board it up and leave it empty. I told my mom that it was my brother's turn to live. Okay, there you go. It was my brother's turn to live in this mold-infested, lead paint-chipped house. Since I've moved, my sinuses are now clear and I don't feel fatigued. I really think the house had mold in it from multiple leaks and water damage over the years, not to mention the paint that was peeling off in sheets off the wall. I tested the paint, and the bottom layer of 80 years worth of paint was lead-based. My mother kept telling me the house wasn't fancy enough for Christina, my sister-in-law, and that it might not be safe enough for them to move in with their foster baby. So the house was safe for the scapegoat and her children for 8 years, but not good enough for the golden child and his family. Yeah. This is what they want when they tell you to suck it up and to get over it. This is what they want you to get over. They want you to get over your lot in life, that you are the bottom rung, that your life and your safety and the safety of your family and your children isn't equal to the golden child, isn't equal to anybody. You're guinea pigs. Every house I looked at needed thousands of dollars worth of work to be livable. After living like that for 8 years, I didn't want to buy a fixer-upper, so I decided to build a house. This was going to take 6 months, and I didn't know if I could handle the gaslighting and guilt tripping for that long. I don't know if it was God or the universe or just plain dumb luck, but a brand new house came on the market that I originally saw, but was a pending sale. The loan had fallen through for the original buyers, and I put an offer on it, and they accepted. The kids and I were able to move and go no contact January 18th of this year. Well, congratulations. And you see, everybody, he can do it. Of course, in true fashion, the scapegoat isn't supposed to leave home, and I found that out firsthand when we moved. My mother had been gaslighting me the whole time about how I was leaving her with a house that nobody would want. Well, wait a minute. I thought she was doing you a favor by letting you live there rent-free in the first place. So which is it? They gaslight you both ways. They gaslight you both. Doesn't matter. This is what I'm telling you. There is no right answer. It's about the argument. It's just about keeping you engaged long enough that they can project and gaslight you and make you second guess yourself until you just capitulate. I asked my parents to give me a couple of weeks to get everything moved. I had hired movers for the big items and was going to move the small things on my own. The day after the moving van left, I got a hit on my phone that the security system was going off. My brother called me wanting to know the code. I could hear the security system going off in the background. I asked him why it was in the house. The majority of my personal belongings were still there. He said that he and Christina were taking measurements. My mother had lied to me this whole time and knew my brother and Christina were planning to move in. They already picked out curtains and paint samples and bought a couple storage units full of furniture. I told my mother that it was an invasion of privacy to have people come into the house while my things were there and to please give me a couple weeks to move everything. My mother said, your brother and Christina need to get started right away. They have a lot of work to do to make the house safe for the baby. Well, now it's a rush. Now it's a rush to get out. I mean, he's been living in that house his entire life. But this should just motivate, just get it all out of the house. Just send them, just get it all out and be done with it. I said, what is the rush? Just give me a couple of weeks or just a week. I have a friend from work that is going to bring her husband's truck on Monday to move everything. She started to pretend to cry on the phone and said she was very stressed and that I need to get over it. The next day I had to work in the ER. I told my mother that on Monday. 2 days later I would bring a truck and move everything. Well, they couldn't give me the weekend. My daughter and her friends went over to the house while I was sleeping through the next day to work the night shift. She called my phone and said, Mom, there are 20 people here from Christina's family and Grandma and Grandpa. They're going through all our stuff and throwing it into a pile in the office. The whole place smells like bleach. She even said I'd lost my shit. But what do you expect, Julia? They have no fucking boundaries. I'd lost, man. You had to know this was coming, though. I mean, they have no boundaries. God. She even said she heard Christina hold up an object and say, this is Julia's, then dropped it in the pile and made a loud thud like it broke. My mother was overseeing this whole operation. My daughter and her friends started loading things into the car because they didn't know what would happen to our stuff if they left it there with this plague of locusts. They were cleaning the carpets and pulling down all the blinds like they were going to throw them away and also throwing them into a pile of stuff. Ollie, this was such an invasion of privacy. I had medications in my medicine cabinet to include birth control pills that they went through. Hell, there was even still food in the fridge. My mother had insisted that I leave the fridge, and now I know why. It was my fridge, but Daniel and Christina didn't want to have to buy a fridge. I bought a brand new fridge that I liked better anyways, but these people were so arrogant and disrespectful when it came to my things and my children's things. It solidified in my mind that these people don't give a shit about me or my kids. My brother and his wife and foster baby are all that matters. That's all that ever mattered. That's really all that ever mattered. Had I known all this was going to go down, I would have had the movers move the fridge out to the street and have the trash man pick it up. I yelled at my mother later and said, you lied to me. She told me it was no big deal and I should get over it. That's what they always say. Because they have no respect for you. Because they believe in their mind that they can do whatever they fucking want to do to you. And it's justified. Just because. I'll tell you this. She's going to get real bored real fast over there. I mean, you haven't even been moved out a month yet. It's going to get real ugly real quick. But you got to stay no contact. You are out. There is no reason. There is no fucking reason whatsoever to ever deal with these people again, Julia. I told her I'm not going to get over it. My feelings are valid and it was an invasion of privacy. She did pretend the crying act again and said, "You don't care how much you hurt my feelings. Fuck your feelings." How about fuck your feelings, bitch? Oh, what a narcissistic cunt. I yelled I yelled back, "What hurts most is that I know you love my brother more than you love me, and you've made your choice." She even cooked dinner for the plague of locusts that were going through my stuff. I know because my daughter went back that night to get more stuff out of the pile of belongings, and the locks had been changed, so she had to get a key from her. She saw my mother sitting at the table with these people like they were her real family now. Now my daughter is not someone to mess with. She was so upset over this incident that she and her friends went to the dollar store and bought 2 gallons of glitter. They went back to the house and spread glitter all over the freshly cleaned carpets, and drove it into the carpets with their feet. Then she took a gay pride flag and stuck it on the back door to the room Christina plans to use as her office. I have a friend that she calls the glitter STD of the crafting world. My daughter said they will be getting glitter up for years to come. Fuck them, right? Fuck them. They destroyed your shit. Now, I would never endorse breaking anybody else's stuff, but your daughter did what your daughter did. Oh well. So sorry this is happening to you. Really? So sorry this is happening to you. You know what? You should get over it. Get over it. Get over it. This house and the distance have been such a blessing I can't even begin to describe. The house is 5 minutes away from work, and I get more sleep. I don't have to fight traffic to get to work. We have neighbors that don't randomly shoot guns in the middle of the day like my brother would do, or run his tractors around the yard or use a chainsaw while I'm trying to sleep. This house has insulation. The old house would get so cold in the winter, you could feel the cold air coming through the carpet from the crawl space. I've had to turn the heat down because my kids complain it gets too hot when it's 65 degrees in here. We have a kitchen that multiple appliances running isn't going to trip the breaker. I would have to go outside in the mud on the side of the house whenever the breaker tripped because the box was outside the house. Awesome. There's no mold in the air making us sick, and no hard well water that tastes nasty and stains the toilets and showers. My daughter isn't ashamed of where she lives anymore and now has friends over. The kitchen in the old house was infested with ants, and I could never get rid of them. I endured all this for 8 years because I'm the scapegoat, and I didn't think me or my kids deserved any better. Going no contact has been wonderful, and I don't know why I held out for so long. Maybe I just wanted my parents' approval, or thought I needed to stay to take care of them as they get older. I had some obligation in my mind, or like I felt like I owed them something. Now, after all this, I know I owe them nothing. The scapegoat doesn't owe their abusers anything. Don't be afraid to go no contact and put some boundaries up in your life. It took moving away from the narcissist and borderline for me to truly understand where I stand in the pecking order of that family, at the very bottom. Thank you again, Ollie, for all you do, and I hope my story helps someone. Sincerely, Julia. You owe them nothing. None of us do. You owe the borderline, you owe the narcissist, you owe the baby boomer. Nothing. Nothing. They get what they get. and you want to kick yourself when you finally do it and you see it and you're like, why did I allow myself to be abused for 8 additional years and my children to live like this for an 8 additional years because I felt like I owe them something. You owe them nothing. None of us do. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and story, Julia. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, or email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.